Mes tambours si autant de rassembler au souple, que l'entente séparée, tant pris fait joindre racine. Mes tambours si autant de rassembler au souple, que l'entente séparée, tant pris fait joindre racine.
Hello everyone, bonjour, bonsoir, quelqu'un dans sa kotoye à soya là, moi saluer, moi c'est Yvener. Jozo, yon le fait encore pour un épisode qui fresh, qui brand new avec 1804 Renaissance, 1804 Renaissance. C'est un plaisir pour moi avec vous à soya et moi content ou recevoir dans salon la caillou, dans téléphone, dans ordinateur. Pour capable partager une autre belle émission à soya. Et avant nous commencer, moi t'aimerais dire inviter un monde, inviter un ami, inviter une famille, inviter un collègue pour capable garder choses à soya parce que nous avons une émission qui est extrêmement spéciale parce que nous avons un invité qui est spécial. Very special guest tonight, and I ask you to not only subscribe to our YouTube channel, but also invite your friends and family, your colleagues to watch this interview this evening because we're going to dive into some very important topics, Haitian history. And before we go even any further, I'm going to invite our co-host, Frisnel Octave, to the stage to share this very special moment with us this evening. Frisnel, ça qu'a fait, comment nous y est, à soi de parler toute langue?
Nous, en forme de Takuba, Sydney, nous disons tout le monde bonsoir, bonsoir Yvenet, bonsoir. Et tout Haïtien à la Honbade, quel que soit côté nous y est, à Soya, et c'est un jour spécial, chaque samedi soir. Dans l'ESA, c'est toujours spécial parce que nous sommes plateforme 1804 Renaissance pour un autre épisode côté n'a porté en pile d'informations surtout je dis c'est histoire d'Haïti c'est un point alors je dis histoire d'Haïti en général c'est une portion de l'histoire d'Haïti non nous pour n'avoir je dis un chapitre et très important dans l'histoire Haïti nous connaît aujourd'hui hein? Et c'est vraiment intéressant donc nous demandons tout le monde chita petit chaise banon pas déplacé c'est un plaisir
voilà,
pour nous avoir encore.
Voilà, Frisnel, nous avons dérapé, comme nous connaissons toujours bien, nous toujours un proverbe, nous partager avec la population, hein, avec l'audience là. Et proverbe nous à soya, c'est ça qui passait, pas oublier. Ça qui était pour te coller. Ah, proverbe ça vraiment lourd. Ça veut dire what has passed, do not forget. What remains, work together on. Bon, Frisnel, me connais bon pile dans cause ça. You're very good in what's the word? You know, déchiffrer the Haitian proverb. So I'm gonna ask you first. What does this proverb mean to you?
Well, so usually I go deep into those proverbs, but c'est ça, ça on proverbe en deux parties, deux paraphrases, donc il pas aussi facile. Et m'a regardé moi ça m'a fait et ça qui passe va oublier, ça qui était pour te coller. Ça qui passe pas arrêter, ça qui passe pas oublier alors ça qui était pour te coller. Bon. Et sinon vous voulez prendre littéralement n'a dit bon, et histoire toujours, t'as supposé toujours été dans l'esprit. Tout ça qui passe, quel bien, quel mal. C'est ça, il y a un auteur qui dit, et un peuple sans histoire, sans mémoire, c'est un peuple sans histoire. Donc, si
Make
vous
sense?
pas vraiment songer ça qui passe dans l'existence, c'est d'accord pas exister par une mémoire du tout de ça qui est passé. Parce que tout ça qui passe ou qui est bon, ou tirer les leçons là, yo même yo ka permettre de continuer à avancer parce que yo bon ou ka continuer sur même lancer ça pour faire bagage qui bon toujours que ça qui est bon parce que gain bon, gain pi bon, gain pi bon toujours. Donc vous comprenez, vous capable avancer. Mais tout ça pas de bon tout. Si vous pas jamais gain mémoire de yo, they never remember. Donc ça peut arriver. Donc ou ka refaire même erreur encore. Donc, mais si vous pas oublier, les permettre ou apprendre ou prendre leçon des problèmes qui t'arrivent pour pas quitter le niveau encore. OK? Ça, c'est la première partie. Deuxième partie, toujours sur le plan littéral, ça qui était pour te coller. OK? Bon, moi-même, m'a fait équivalence à ça qui était à moun. OK? Parce que le fait qu'elle ait porté collé, il était qu'à ressource, il était qu'à ressource, il était qu'à n'importe quel autre bagage, mais le fait qu'elle ait porté collé là-dedans, donc m'a brûlé le monde, parce que ressources, bagage matériel, yo pas gain nom là-dedans, yo pas gain l'esprit, yo pas gain un cerveau intellectuel qui pour permettre yo agir de par eux-mêmes pour porter coller ensemble. Bon, c'est vrai, ils sont l'autre débat, on peut parler de son écosystème, ok, côté bagaille communiquer entre eux, mais c'est pas dans le niveau, je voulais mettre là, je voulais mettre là niveau humain, l'anthropologie, l'homme au centre de tout. Donc, plutôt mettre là, que nous-mêmes, ça qui, les ancêtres nous, par exemple, ils ont passé, ils ont fait des grandes choses qui, dans nos histoires, nous gagnent, histoire, ça n'a pas répété, tout ça n'a pas répété, qui passait déjà, donc il fait partie de l'histoire. Donc, mais qu'on y a là, nous-mêmes qui l'a toujours, génération ça qui l'a, nous-mêmes, nous capables de porter, mettre mes mains ensemble, nous gagnons un pile charge pas lourd, comme on l'autre, nous gagnons l'union fait la force dans des devises. Donc, tout ça, nous porter coller ensemble, porter coller, c'est combat, c'est l'union, c'est la force là, c'est l'unité et n'a prêché, n'a cherché qui vous permettre collaboration dans tout et tout le monde, tout haïtien, qu'elle soit côté lien, pour te coller, mettre les mains ensemble. Donc, ça, et proverbe ça, pour moi, les faire ressortir comme les miens.
Bon, Frisnel, ou dit tout, m'pas gagné, m'pas besoin d'ajouter encore, vous comprenez? Et, mais proverbe ça, est très profond. So what I understand from that, whatever happened, whatever is in the past, we must not forget what happened. So even if we don't forget what happened, but we still have an obligation to continue to move forward.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right, very good, very good. Donc, proverbe ça, donc m'pas prend pile temps encore, and I have to say this show is going to be in English and Creole because we have so many viewers today. Some of them, not everyone in the audience today can understand Creole. So we'll do this interview also in English. Now, the third part of the interview of this show tonight, we're going to invite Rick Boris, right? Rick Boris is one of our collaborators in Haiti. He's going to share, he has his own rubric. We call it Ti causer sur l'histoire avec Rick Boris. Now, I'm going to invite Rick, who's going to lead us in this segment. Okay. Rick, ça qu'a fait? Oh, Rick, you're muted. Unmute yourself. Okay.
Nou an form, e bon kote pou.
Nou an form takou bas. E ki so gen pou nou aswe la sou l'histoire?
Bon, comme d'habitude, beauté sec bagay pour nous sur l'histoire pays ya. Ou ba mbal partager avec nous. Est-ce que nous comptons parler de Goma? Jean-Baptiste Goma. Eh bien, Goma, c'est un surnom. Bon, Jean-Baptiste Goma, c'est Jean-Baptiste Perrier. Et c'est André Rigaud, il y a un monde qui était marqué, qui était parrain Goma. C'est le premier bagage là. Deuxième bagage, je vais parler pour nous, c'est, nous tous connaissons 17 octobre, qui ça veut dire. Mais il y a l'autre 17 octobre, qu'on est l'histoire pays. Le 17 octobre 1802. Dans date ça, l'armée française était manqué arrêter Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Et jour ça, c'est Nicolas Saget, qui c'est papa, ni Saget avec le président, qui va sauver la vie de Dessalines. Ça, c'est le 17 octobre 1802. Nous connaissons 17 octobre 1806, mais le 17 octobre 1802. Troisième bagage, ma côté pour nous, c'est concernant moun qui a plus l'âge qui vient président pays. C'est Philippe Guerrier, qui vient président pays à 3 mars 1944 à 87 ans.
Gros cause, il m'a comme ça, non? Pas connaître l'âge.
Wow.
Alors, c'est question, c'est que vous pas prêter attention à ça.
Il est mort à 88 ans. Quatrième bagage là, c'est concernant Bois-en-Tonnerre. Des mots de Bois-en-Tonnerre, ou acte de l'indépendance là, ou 1er janvier, etc. Mais Bois-en-Tonnerre a écrit un livre tout, qui est les mémoires pour servir à l'histoire d'Haïti. Côté il partagé en pile informations sur période révolutionnaire là. Son livre qui est très intéressant, que vous télécharger sur Internet là. Et puis, dernier bagage ma prothèse pour nous, c'est concernant le journal officiel pays. Nous connaissons le Moniteur qui commence en 1945, mais avant le Moniteur, tu as gagné le Télégraphe, qui existait de 1812 à 1843. Donc, c'est après le Télégraphe que le Moniteur va apparaître en 1945. Donc, je disais à la petite cause pour l'histoire, c'est 5 ça que je voté pour nous.
Ok. C'est bien.
Rick, moi, c'est ça parce que gon paquet de bagaille ou fait nous qu'on est là que pas jamais connaît. Donc et ça fait l'important pour nous toujours lire, pour nous toujours suivre Rick ça, ti causer sur l'histoire avec Rick Boris. Merci un pile Rick et merci un pile pour belle cause ça sur l'histoire pays d'Haïti. Donc nous avons avancé. Donc c'est le moment qu'on a là pour me capable introduire invité spécial nous à and I will do this introduction in English, all right? And we'll invite our guests this evening. And before we invite the guests, I would love for you to share the show and share with your friends and your colleagues. Thank you, Rick, and we'll see you again next week. And you will still be here watching the interview here, but we'll bring you next week for more interesting stories. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very important question for you. Now, you may want to guess who we have here tonight, and I know we do, but I do want to ask you a question. Have you ever thought about how one person's story can shape the future of an entire nation? Tonight, we explore the life of King Henry Christophe, one of Haiti's most important and complicated leaders, with the amazing woman who brought his story to life. Our guest tonight is Dr. Marlene Daut, a brilliant scholar, author, and professor of French and African American Studies at Yale University. Dr. Daut has dedicated her career to teaching the world about Haiti's history, culture, and the strength of its people. Her new book, The First and Last King of Haiti, The Rise and Fall of Henry Christophe tells the powerful story of Haiti's only king. Now, if you didn't know Haiti had a king, tonight you will find out more about this king. This book isn't just about history. It's about resilience, leadership, and the lessons we can learn from our past. My friends, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome back to the 1804 platform, Dr. Marlene Daut. Dr. Marlene Daut, how are you? Welcome back to our world.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly delighted to be here.
We're very happy to have you as well.
Yeah, this is an amazing pleasure to have you back on the platform. I can't wait for the conversation to get started.
Yes, I'm excited to have the conversation with you and with all the viewers and listeners.
All right. So just to clarify, tonight we have myself, Wisnel Octave, and our amazing Guylaine Brutus from the UK with us. Actually, you have met Guylaine before. You and I interviewed, Guylaine and I interviewed you before a few months ago, last year.
Yes. Yep. Good to see you again.
Awesome. 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 So the audience knows who you are, but briefly, in just a few minutes, because we do this all the time, please tell our amazing audience, who is Dr. Marlene Daut before we dive into this amazing book? We have the king, the first and last king of Haiti.
Hello, everyone. Marlene Daut. I am the author of The First and Last King of Haiti, The Rise and Fall of Henry Christophe. I am also a professor, even though I have French and African American studies in my title. I teach about the Caribbean in my classes, and specifically the Haitian Revolution. I taught a class last semester called Haiti in the Age of Revolutions, and it was packed as our students wanted to know more about this momentous world historical event. And that's what most of my research is about. I'm also the author of Awakening the Ashes, an intellectual history of the Haitian Revolution. And I also study literature about the Haitian Revolution and Haitian authors and print culture more broadly. And if you want to know more about the print culture of the Kingdom of Haiti, you can visit my website, lagazetteroyale.com, where you can read the newspapers in full text or in PDF form.
Yeah. Yes.
Very good. Yes. Very good. Thank you so much. So don't forget, we'll have those links shortly, and also in the article that will be published about the book and Dr. Marlene Daut, you will have a chance to get all of that information in the near future, very near future. So thank you again, Dr. Marlene Daut, and welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello, Guylaine. Welcome. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, you're muted.
Guylaine, you are muted. All right. I think we should come back to you, Guylaine.
Sorry,
I don't
it's
think
on the computer tab. Everything else is working. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for branching in tonight. Thank you, Marlene, again for answering the call to come back to have a night with us to conversate on your books and your publishing and everything about Capoise and Royaume Christophe. I am very appreciative of everything you've done. Moi c'est Capoise, so I appreciate everything about Henry Christophe. So thank you again. Bonsoir Yvne, bonsoir Fritzner, bonsoir Marlena, bonsoir tout le monde qui a écouté nous à soir. Merci encore parce que vous branchez dans yon lot émission 1804 Renaissance.
Très bien, très bien, très bien. Well, who is the lucky person tonight to ask the very first question? Well, ladies first.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
So I have
Yeah,
well, I have a lot of questions. But I'm just gonna start with you're writing about Wyom Christophe. You're writing about Henry Christophe. We've had so many writings on Henry Christophe, whether he was a tyrant, whether he was this amazing historical figure. There's writings that he was not Haitian, he was Grenadian, that he was born in Haiti, that all these mysteries around this figure. And I would like to ask you, what is it that you have discovered that we didn't know? The facts about the birth and the man that is Henri Christophe.
Yes, well, that is a great and very meaty question, a great way to begin. Well, first I would say Henri Christophe was not born in Haiti, but he was Haitian through and through. That was his adopted homeland. And I think he would very much bristle at the suggestion that his birth outside of Haiti didn't make him a Haitian. But yes, he was born on the British island of Grenada, which is in the Southern Caribbean. And I always like to say this is not a discovery, of course, of mine. It's merely that the information was hiding in plain sight, and that there's so many other rumors about other places he was born that it made it seem for a long time as if we didn't really know. And one of the ways we know that Christophe was born in Grenada is because the documents produced by the Kingdom of Haiti, the 6 different versions of the Almanach Royal, confirm his birth date, October 6, 1767, and Baron de Vate's 1819 Essai sur les causes de la Révolution et les guerres civiles d'Haïti confirms that Christophe was born on the island of Grenada, and also the birth date, and also that Christophe participated in the American Revolutionary War at the Battle of Savannah, where he was wounded. And even though there are other sources that give other information, none of those sources were produced by the Kingdom of Haiti at the request of the king, approved by him, and printed in the printing press that Christophe founded. So I always say, with this book, I was weighing information and telling different stories, but not all of the stories can be given the same weight, because they are not all things that either can be confirmed, or the people providing the information don't actually have good sources for their own information. And Christophe is here the source for Vate.
Brilliant, brilliant. I know that there was a written press, and it's just amazing when I read your books and I read other historical books around Henri Christophe. It's amazing how functional this kingdom was. There's theaters, there's plays, there's music, there's all this sort of mimicking of I'm saying mimicking in a sense, because he was from the English Caribbean of the United Kingdom, the sort of Wyom Uni sort of royal imagery, and so it's amazing how we've never really focused, or Haitian history or Haitian society never really focused on that part of history to make it sort of a go-to, for educating society, or bringing pride to society, or building societal consciousness on their value and everything. And it's amazing reading your books and how you're from this generation, and you're going back and you're writing about this stuff, and how amazing it is for us at this pivotal time when we really need this sort of information to go back to ourselves and have, it's just amazing. I just wanted to add that sort of thing. So I'll let the guys ask their question.
Yes, thank you, Guylaine. Thank you very much for that. And as we watch this interview, and I want you to know this book, you can get your copy of The First and Last King of Haiti today. And I mean today, easy way to get it. And I make it easy for you. All you need to do is to text the word king to 786-686-3633. And you will automatically get a link that will take you to the Amazon store so you can buy the book. And one thing too, when you buy the book, you read the book, make sure you leave a review. Otherwise, we'll ask you to pay double. I'm just kidding.
Unfortunately for us in the UK, we are unable to get it right away. So
yes,
I'm still waiting for
There's a UK version that will be out on February 25th. So yes, you can put in a pre-order, but you've got to wait.
I did. I've had a pre-order since last year.
Yeah,
Since
it's about a month
year.
away. It's not too long. It will come out shortly. It's about 24 more days.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Fusnel. So
yes,
let's go. Let's do this. So
yes, let's go. Let's go quick. Okay. Well, so my first question for you is this aspect of Christophe. Depending on where you really form in Haiti, so you may view or get used to hear stories differently about Christophe. Okay, and me, I was born and raised in northwestern Haiti, which is the Grand Nord. This is part of Christophe Kingdom. So my view is not the same as someone in the western side or eastern, southern Haiti. So people would say, so you hear people say about Christophe, he's a tyrant, he's this demoniac person, evil. So in your book, you treat in one of the chapters dedicated to that aspect of betrayal, Christophe, like so many different facets of him, showing that he's a traitor. So how you explain this in a way where people will understand and certain things, certain action, certain motive behind what Christophe done?
Yes, because I knew that there is so much polarized opinion about stuff, I felt it was important to approach this more like an investigation with certain questions. Was Christophe a traitor? Was he a tyrant? Was he a despot? Was he this benevolent paternalistic figure as he tried to and wanted to portray himself as? Was he a good lawmaker and legislator and king and leader? What was his relationship to Toussaint Louverture, to Jean-Jacques Dessalines, to the other revolutionaries, and who started the Civil War? Can we fault someone? Are they both Pétion and Christophe at fault? And by approaching it as an investigation, it allowed me to really treat him as a human being who was capable of greatness, but who also had certain flaws and fatal flaws, in fact, they ended up being. And in terms of the question of traitor, which so many people and so many of the writings, that's kind of how they frame him, which is why I asked that question at the outset. He didn't experience himself as a traitor. And I'm speaking of the moment when the Leclerc expedition has arrived. Christophe has already had the city of Cap Français burned down. And now it seems like he's wavering, but I really wanted to follow what happened. Not just, he just all of a sudden decided to join with the French and join with Napoleon's soldiers, because that wouldn't actually really make sense, right? That there would be a motive, there would be a reason. It doesn't mean that it would be a good one, but there was a reason. And so in the book, I follow him as he tries to make this decision. And then I follow what happens afterward between him and Toussaint Louverture. And they're still talking. Toussaint Louverture is very upset with him, but he's still talking to him. And he takes Christophe's advice and to put down his arms. And we see what happens after that. Then Dessalines follows suit, Belair, others as well. And then we have to deal with the fallout of this, because this is a very fatal decision. I think another question, of course, that is on, I'm sure, so many of the viewers' minds is the relationship that Christophe had with Dessalines, and was he involved in the October 1806 assassination? And so again, there, instead of starting from a foregone conclusion, I follow his day. Since Christophe was such a great record keeper, we have all, I don't know if they're all of them, but voluminous letters that Christophe wrote on that day, nearly 24, 2 days after the assassination. As that's when he learned of it. He's sending missive after missive, trying to figure out what happened, if the information he's been given is true, and what they're supposed to do moving forward. And so in approaching his life as, let me just follow him as he gets information, I'm able to show when he makes a mistake that it's in the moment. He's in the moment, and a lot of these are split-second decisions. Things will be a little bit different once he becomes king, because he has more power. He has more time to deliberate when he needs to make a choice. And always make the right one even there.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So there is this perception. I don't know. Maybe it's true. Whereas Christophe was well aware that the French, they plotted to capture Toussaint, because Dessalines was first received order to arrest Toussaint, but he refused. He didn't do it, even though he was mad with Toussaint, not understanding where Toussaint was heading. But Christophe, what they said about Christophe, Christophe in this situation is that he was one of the planners of the meeting what Toussaint was coming to, when the French general invited Toussaint to, and then he knew well they're going to capture him. They arrested him, all that, but he didn't tell him. He told me we're going to be a friendly meeting and so on. And the minute he got to the place, he disappeared and then abandoned Toussaint there. Is that in your research? Is that what you found out for real?
Again, approaching it as an investigation, I went to the source, which was Toussaint Louverture. And that isn't the story that Toussaint Louverture told. Toussaint Louverture didn't know a lot about the planning behind the scenes, but he faulted Christophe for many things, including burning Cap Français. Toussaint Louverture denied that he gave Christophe the order to do that he gave him a de facto authorization to do it, which is Christophe's story, that Toussaint had issued a standing order, and Christophe interpreted that as, if any French troops or foreign troops in general arrive en masse, that he is to set fire to the city if he doesn't have authorization from Toussaint directly to let them land. So Toussaint seems to be very aware and capable of blaming Christophe for certain things. For example, the money that Christophe took from the treasury, from Joseph Bunel, who was the treasurer of Cap Français, Toussaint Louverture knows Christophe took it. Christophe did order Bunel to give it to him, so he did have the money. But the arrest, Toussaint appears to know that this was General Brunet, who was one of Leclerc's main henchmen. And I have to say, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but it wasn't Christophe whom Brunet tapped to help him in this dubious mission. It was not, according to Brunet's own account.
You're talking about Brunet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Don't give them any spoil, because we want them to go and text 786-686 3633 to get the book, right? So now we're just talking to you about the book so you can buy it.
Well, and also
So,
because I wrote it like a
Dr.
story with, and so I want people to be able to follow the story. So there's some suspense and surprise there, you know, as they're figuring out what's going to happen, as they're asking themselves what's going to happen.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, Dr. Daut, so reading the book, and I can see that Christophe's leadership was marked by ambition, resilience, also flaws. What lesson can Haitian leaders today draw from his life, particularly regarding the need for vision and long-term planning and governance?
I mean, honestly, the more I studied his life, the more parallels I saw. It's more than 200 years ago, right? But Christophe believed in education, free education for all, boys and girls, at a time when that was not common anywhere in the world. In fact, they were impressed in England, in Great Britain, with what Christophe wanted to do. And they were encouraging it because they thought, oh, Haiti is going to be one of the most progressive places on the earth, if it is not, in fact, already the most progressive place. The slavery was abolished. And for example, in Great Britain's colonies, slavery was continuing. So Thomas Clarkson, William Wilberforce, these big, huge, famous abolitionists were really willing to help Christophe with his vision. But I would say that Christophe's laws around labor were considered special in his era because it allowed the laborers, at least in theory, to share in the profits from the plantations that had been redistributed through leases to various individuals who were supposed to oversee them. But his laws and reactions to France's continued encroachments, I think, offer huge lessons because Christophe was unwilling to compromise Haitian sovereignty. After Napoleon was forced to abdicate his throne twice, each time the restored Bourbon king, Louis XVIII, sent expeditions to try to pave the way to, quote unquote, restore the colony, which means to reinsert French control and bring back slavery. And Christophe stops them at every instance. And when they continue, he issues a trade embargo against France. And he says, and if this trade embargo doesn't work, we will bar any French person, any French ship from even being in our waters. He wasn't afraid to take a drastic step that could have potentially harmed his relationship with Great Britain, which was the kingdom of Haiti's greatest trading partner, because he knew that his first obligation was to protect the Haitian people, and he was not willing to sell Haiti's sovereignty. The word that his ministers used when they were approached with this terrible question of paying France an indemnity, the word they used was inadmissible. They're not even going to listen to this conversation. No debate, no negotiations. It is simply inadmissible. And I think that that's what we need to see today. When people propose absurd solutions for Haiti, we need to consider that inadmissible.
Wow.
We missed the mark, isn't it? We missed the great guy.
Yeah.
While we're going on, I see there's a question from Paola Florent. So he's reading the book now. He's listening to the book and he's waiting for his physical copy. And he wanted to know, when is it going to be translated in Creole?
I hope it will be translated in Creole. Even though I've published other books, none of my books have been translated into any other languages yet. And so I don't have a lot of experience with that, except learning that I am not the person who's in charge of that. But I do know that there is a desire on the part of the publisher. If, there were a publishing house and a translator who wanted to translate it, but that's sort of how it works. It's kind of out of my hands, but I would love nothing more than to see a version in Creole, a version in French, in Spanish, in multiple languages, because Christophe's life was international. There were tons of foreigners living in the Kingdom of Haiti, and Germans and people from Spain and all over were interested in his story. And I think they could be again today if they were able to read the book in their own languages.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
well,
true.
listening
we
to
have.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, I
Okay.
was gonna say
Yeah.
we have another question. We have another question from a member of the audience. This question is from our amazing guest audience, Samuel, and I'll post his question here. He says, where do you rank Henry Christophe among Haiti's history?
I would say, he's pretty incomparable. And of course, I'm completely biased. I'm going to admit that. I've spent so long studying his life and trying to know and understand him. And I think for me, I rank him pretty high up there. I think Haiti's early rulers, Dessalines and Christophe in particular, they are all flawed, as all human beings are. But what I saw in their reign was a protection of Haitian sovereignty that when we compare it, for example, to what happens not just under Boyer, but really all the leaders of the 19th century after that, because why do they pay the indemnity? This is a historical question. Boyer is overthrown in 1843. New administrations come, they create new constitutions, they change the laws. So why are they agreeing to something that a former president who is now no longer in power in exile agreed to? This is a question that we need to take seriously and not just say, oh, because they were elite and they didn't care about the people. We need to go back into the history of the indemnity and not just follow the money. We need to also follow the people. Each of those rulers, it's not just Boyer. All of those rulers successively, we need to better understand them and why they would continue to do this thing that was obviously so terrible for Haiti.
Very well.
Good, very good. I know Fisnel has a follow-up question, and then after the Fisnel's follow-up question, we'll go ahead and address another question from the audience. Fisnel, go ahead.
Well, I mean, listening to Dr. Daut, responding to the question from Samuel, I can't stop but thinking about how would Haiti be shaped today if Christophe had the opportunity to rule over the whole Haiti. Even if Christophe had the chance to be in Boyer position for 22 years. So with ruling all over the island. So I'm looking at also your chapter 17 when, Tado, a king is gone, but not forgotten. So how you address this aspect?
Yes. I mean, one of the things I say in the book pretty early on is, we don't know what would have happened had Christophe lived and continued to reign, but we do know what happened without him. And, Demes Valdelorme, a writer from northern Haiti, Cap Haïtien, when he wrote his book about the 1842 quake, which he experienced as a child, and he's reflecting back on it, and the book was only published posthumously after his death, he described the day of the earthquake in this kind of painstaking detail, and it led him to this political reflections that I have found so both moving and instructive. He ties the overthrow of Boyer to his terrible response to that earthquake, to not coming to the aid of the people of the North, essentially kind of allowing them to suffer, still maybe wanting to punish them a little bit because there were still some Christophe loyalists there. And so he distinctively ties that moment of the coup d'etat to the earthquake. But the other thing he says is that we never had someone who was more king-like in a negative sense than Jean-Pierre Boyer. He said Jean-Pierre Boyer reigned for this entire time. And what did we see him do? Sell the country away, change the laws of Haiti to essentially transform the citizens into all laborers, all non-military elite citizens. And he was asking, I think, some fundamental questions without deliberately saying, how would, or directly saying, how would things be if Christophe had remained? But Christophe also had great relations with the other world powers, even though they were not formally recognizing Haiti's sovereignty. For example, the functionaries from the East, they would come from the part after the eastern side was returned to Spanish rule. They would come and be in the Kingdom of Haiti and salute Christophe for helping them get rid of the French, because he did. He supplied them with weapons and money to help get rid of the French, and he tried to convince Great Britain to do so as well. So this was a person who had respect from the other world powers, and I think because he wasn't willing to compromise Haitian sovereignty. I'll give you an example of this. When Christophe directed the military to capture slave ships if they entered Haitian waters, and then they would set free the captives, that's what they called them, in Haiti, and they would be referred to as new Haitians. Well, the Spanish and the Portuguese slave traders were very upset about this, and so one ship actually went onto the shores in Haiti, captured people from northern Haiti, free citizens, and took them to Havana and to Kingston, and they were going to try to sell them. And Christophe was livid, and he wrote to the governor of Havana, and he said, "You must return these citizens, free citizens of Haiti, immediately." And astonishingly, the governor did this, because imagine the amount of retaliation that is going to happen, because Christophe has a lot of ships. We have lists of his ships. He could just send them further out, not even just limiting them to Haitian waters. And so this was someone who forced the rest of the world to recognize that he really wasn't playing with them, that he was absolutely serious. And so to me, that's what I wonder, is if he stayed and continued to say no to the indemnity, it most likely never would have happened.
I think that's what the similarities between Christophe and Dessalines, that's what I saw as well. This sort of reluctancy to give up the sovereignty, the country identity. We have a question from Christopher Davis. He's trying to understand, without giving too much away, he wants to know how do you see how Christopher viewed the dynamics between Haiti and the United States during his rule?
It's so interesting, because if you read the pamphlets and books published by Bernard Devate, they have to walk this kind of fine line. So they say that's a great form of government, republic, that the United States has for them, because they used to be a British colony and they were rebelling against monarchical rule, but that's not a good form of government for us. And we need the strong hand of kingly power. And so effective were Christophe's secretaries that you would find in the US press, you would find defenses of this monarchy. So in a country that is supposed to dislike monarchy, revolt and rebel against monarchy, you had, for example, the famous magazine, the North American Review, arguing that absolutely Christophe was the right person for the job, and saying if France thinks that they can go and recover their territories, then it's going to cost more than Haiti is worth to get it back. That he actually convinced the rest of the world that France couldn't win, and that a king was the right move for Haiti. Now, of course, from a governmental perspective, things unfolded a bit differently. There was a trade embargo in place for part of the time of Christophe's rule. He was upset about this. His ministers were upset about this. These embargoes that the United States instituted caused flour and grain shortages, and caused lack of linens and things in the hospitals, and so people suffered under those embargoes. But Christophe was still willing to negotiate with the United States, but the United States government was not willing to negotiate with Haiti, but they did eventually allow their merchants to continue to trade with Haiti. So it was this kind of careful dance they had to do, which involved not criticizing the United States overtly, especially vis-a-vis slavery, although of course they papered the earth in the Kingdom of Haiti with anti-slavery screeds, but without specifically saying the US is our target for this. It was the same thing with Great Britain. France, of course, open season to criticize in all respects. And that was a mutual relationship, as France criticized both King Henry and President Pétion.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daut. And thank you, Dr. Davis, for asking this question. And Dr. Davis, hello to you. He's a former guest of the show. And we're going to move forward. But before we continue, we're going to take a short break. But I do want to remind the audience, tonight, you need to get your copy of this book. All you need to do is to text the word king to 786-686-3633. And the number is right at the bottom of the screen. No excuses. The king is waiting for you. So let's go ahead and take a short break. We'll be right back with Dr. Marlene Daut. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you again for watching this live interview with Dr. Marlene Daut, our very own. I always like to say our very own Dr. Marlene Daut, giving us this history lesson. And I love history, and it's one of my favorite subjects because if you know your history, you have a very good chance of knowing who you are. And Haitians, we like to brag about it. We like to talk about our history a lot. So very good, very good. So we have so many more questions for Dr. Marlene Daut. And one thing that I'll do, we may not have a chance to ask every single question from the audience tonight. But do you mind if we send all of those questions to you, Dr. Daut, so you can answer to every one of those audience members individually?
I'd be happy to.
All right. So you heard it. Dr. Marlene Daut will answer your question individually. I will be sure to make sure that happens. So we are moving on and with our conversation with Dr. Marlene Daut. And I do want to ask you again, please share this live with your audience, with your friends, so that we can share this very special moment together. Now, I'm going to ask this question as we continue to talk about Christophe. So Henry Christophe, I would say King Henry Christophe, established schools and promoted cultural advancement. How did his policies influence Haitian identity during his reign? And how might prioritizing education and culture can help address Haiti's current struggles?
Yeah, he really believed in education stemming back from the revolutionary days. So there's I talk about some of the schools, makeshift schools that he created during the revolutionary period. And he oversaw Dessalines' attempt to create some form of school system when Haiti was an empire under Dessalines. And in fact, Christophe at that time was general-in-chief of the Haitian army, but he still had this massive responsibility of, helping with this fledgling school system. And so it's kind of no surprise that when he became first president and then king, that he really took up this question in earnest. And people have asked me before, what's a word I would use to describe him? And it's a word that has a different valence today. It doesn't I think it's more negative today than it was in his era. And that word is paternal. He spoke to the people who lived in the kingdom as if they were his children, and he had a great responsibility toward them. But that meant that they also had responsibility toward him as their father, so to speak. He called himself their father. And that also meant that when he felt that rules were not being followed or laws were being broken, that he could punish them as a good father would with his children to make sure that they'll choose a better path moving forward. So we can see how there's a thin line, though, right, between kind of punishment and abuse or consequences and really kind of taking things too far. But he really tried very hard to instill the idea that Haiti needed to be a place where people were educated, where people worked very hard, and where people were grateful to their rulers for protecting Haitian sovereignty. So he constantly publicized any threats to Haiti's sovereignty because he really wanted people to understand that building the citadel was not actually just this ostentatious, unnecessary display of power. And so when the Bourbon king kept trying to restore slavery, the people believed him. And you can see why they would believe him, because they had the evidence before their eyes. There's one episode in the book where I talk about the reaction of the Haitian people on a day when they see a ship flying a French flag in the harbor. And it's hard for us, I think, to think about the fact that the last time that many of them had seen such a sight was the Leclerc expedition. And so their memories, traumatic memories, being called forth by seeing this pavilion, as they call it, this flag waving out there, and they don't know if more ships are on the horizon. And so Christophe has to reassure the people constantly that he is their protector. And so I think that it was a time of pride for a lot of people, but of course not everybody got to experience all the sort of prosperity and success during his reign, because it was a deeply unequal society, because there was a society of nobles and aristocracy, and it was a monarchy.
Very good, very good. Now we do have another question from another audience member, Mr. Samuel Momondo. He's saying, just hearing this conversation by you, Dr. Daut, I'm learning much about Christophe. My question is, why Christophe is not talked about much in regards to not only the Haitian Revolution, but Haiti's history as a whole compared to Louverture and Dessalines?
It's a very interesting question, right? Because Christophe, there's a way in which you could say Christophe is actually written about much more than Dessalines, for example, not Toussaint Louverture, who of course is the most famous and popularly written about of the three, but most of the writings about Christophe, fictional writings, in fact, focus on his period as king. I think it's true that in the writings of the Haitian Revolution, Christophe kind of is pushed to the side. Of course, he has to be there when we're talking about the Leclerc expedition and his famous burning of the city of Cap Français. But it is very interesting that he's been kind of sidelined. And I think part of that is that in the quest to kind of follow Toussaint Louverture and then follow the sort of handing of the baton, figuratively speaking, to Dessalines, where does Christophe fit inside this narrative? And I think that's one of the reasons why in standard historical accounts of the revolution, Christophe is absolutely there, but he's definitely not the focus. And for me, writing his biography, I didn't want to just start at, go really quickly through his early life, say, oh yeah, he was in the Haitian Revolution, and then get to the period where he's king, because I hope that the Haitian Revolution also looks different through his eyes as we follow him. Focusing on one person, you see different things, or our attention is called to different moments rather than the moments that our eyes and ears and our thoughts and imaginations go to. When we follow Toussaint, we get one story. When we follow Dessalines, we get another story. But if we follow Christophe, then we see what his experiences were. And as I hope we get to follow more and more of the revolutionaries, because it's not just Christophe, so many of the revolutionaries who their lives as revolutionaries, including Pétion and Rigaud, we don't follow as much. And the revolution is going to look very different. We're going to learn different things once we start following women, Suzanne Belair, when we start following even the wives of the revolutionaries in particular in a targeted way. So much more information is going to come to light. So I hope that's the period we're in now, is where, yes, we're going to continue to study the Haitian Revolution. We're going to also focus on people who didn't get to be in the center of the frame most of the time in the past studies.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a question, and I know that you're writing about Henry Christophe historical legacy in Cap Français and au Cap or no. Through your research and through your networking and over the years, you've took 10 years, I think, to research this book. Have you met anyone that is focusing on his material legacy? The historical sites. Have you met anyone that's doing it? Because I know we had a lot of issues with, especially Citadel, with one of the missing, cannons and all these things that are happening. We have historical sites. Somebody wanted to burn down the Palais 365 Porte. Have you met anyone that is focusing on his sort of material legacy?
Yes, I have. I'm actually excited that you asked this question. There's an archaeologist at UC Santa Cruz named Cameron Monroe who, I don't remember what the site is called, but you can see his drone digital recreation of the palace, because of course we have a lot of information about what the palace looked like in its heyday. And because he's an archaeologist and was involved in digs, he found also that the fountains, the voluminous fountains that Christophe had, were still functioning. They still work, at least as of the last time that he was there. They still work. They were elaborate kind of agricultural systems, which is just absolutely amazing to me. And so, yes, there are people studying this material legacy. And there are also people like Nicole Wilson and Miriam Franchina who are studying his wife. And I know you know this, but the plaque there in London, and now there's a separate plaque over in Pisa to commemorate Marie-Louise, and really to focus on her journey as well. Again, I always say I want more studies of all of the people involved, and also the objects of their rule. For example, the Christophian dresses, one of which is in Mupana, the paintings, the Numa des Roches paintings from the era. Henry Stoll is studying the operas and plays and recreating the music. That this is such a rich field that we could really do amazing things when we work together. So also I like the proverb for today, because I feel that's very true from an academic standpoint, is nope, we're not competing with one another, we're working together so we can tell the story, all its richness and fullness.
Perfect.
I really like that. Really. Yeah. Just today, in our chat, we're talking. I would say, okay. I mean, you put so much energy and times and to research to come in order for you to come up with this book. So it's worth pursuing, studying the other revolutionaries as well, right? What about this? What about Hawaii? What about Pétion? Whatever we go and all that, and then you just said it. That's it's amazing.
There's a need to do it.
When you were able to do all this, if maybe in collaboration with other academia, or as you said, so people will have a whole different perspective about Haitian history.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's necessary. Sorry. I think it's necessary for us also, for other Haitians and other friends of Haiti who are watching, who are creatives, to dab into, you're writing about Henri Christophe. Somebody could do a cartoon or anime or, storybook, kids book, all these things that can come out of it, movies, plays, all these things that can come out of our rich history is necessary for us to build this sort of Haitianness you know, to move forward so that we can appreciate ourselves and appreciate the country that they've left us.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I see just more, all of it. So the story can be told at every level, from school children beyond, to adults, to people who don't even know anything about Haiti, you know, do it from multiple avenues. Use all of this beautiful media at their disposal.
Yeah, and I'm happy for your help as well. I think I spoke to you in private. I was doing an exhibition on Henry Christophe in Leeds, and the amount of people that came into the exhibition, they're like, I didn't know, you know. That his coins were made in Manchester by, you know, and all these things, this connection with the UK. We're so amazed with that.
There's a lot of echo.
Oh, I don't know if it's me, but okay. I don't know if it's me, but thank you very much for your input in helping me to deliver that exhibition in Leeds.
It's look like we lost Dr. Daut.
She lost video.
Due to some weak signal, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. Video.
Okay, here you go. Yes, Shizzy.
Yes. Thank you.
Sorry, I had an echo. You still have an echo.
Yeah, there's a little echo.
Yes. You have. Oh, I think we all have an echo. What's going on? All right. Okay. Yeah. So moving on. So I don't know if the audience can hear the echo. I think I can. All right. We're trying to figure out where's the echo coming from.
Yeah, I hear you well. So it's not coming from you.
Okay. So
okay, you can go ahead.
I think Fritzner, you're the only one that doesn't have an echo.
All right. So while we're waiting for the audience, remember to order your copy by texting ING to 786-686-3633. Now, Dr. Do's not gonna sign this book, but you get your verbal signature on the show today, right, Dr. Do? You get a verbal signature.
and then of course they can follow to see where Dr. Do is going to be in person for a conference or book signature, and then they can bring their book and then she'll be glad to sign it, right?
100%. Yes, please do that.
Yeah. So we're all gonna be muted. So Dr. Do, please tell us where you're gonna be. If you have any book tours, states and countries you're gonna be touring.
Yes, and I'm just happy to share a little graphic I have to show where I'm going to be. But here in New Haven, I'll be in Boston, Philadelphia, Providence, Rhode Island. So staying mostly in the Northeast, New York, Brooklyn. And if you follow me on Instagram at Fictions of Haiti, I have posted where a lot of the dates are. I'm actually going to go back to Miami in March also. So please come and find me, or on the web, a couple more virtual events as well, book readings. So please find me there. And thank you so much to the hosts. This is so wonderful, and I really appreciate all of you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming, and thanks a lot for speaking to us again. I'm still waiting for the book, and I can't wait to have it. I have not that I'm, I have a few of your books here that I'm reading as well. And I appreciate the focus on Henry Christophe and the North because I am from there, kind of biased and in that sense. But it is important that we kind of focus on the positive aspects of our history and the things that have that the legacies that our historians, that our heroes have left behind, and respect that legacy in order to build on it, to improve on it, to modernize, and to move forward as a country. So thank you very much for the work that you've done.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more.
And you're going to continue to write about Haitian history. So we're going to continue to thank you because the work you are doing is so important because there's so much going on in our world. There's so much crazy and stupid narratives about Haiti. And when we have people like yourself writing, telling the story the way it should be told, and I think this is a beautiful thing.
Yes, I mean, we've got to combat. We have to combat. We don't want to have to be doing this, but the stereotypes, the demonizations, the racism, unfortunately, still part of discourse on Haiti today, and we combat it with the truth. I always quote Jean-Léopold Dominique of Radio Haiti Inter: "You cannot kill the truth. They can say whatever they want about us, but they cannot kill the truth."
Yes, you can say that again. You cannot
kill. Definitely.
Well, you just quote one of my models. Yes, definitely. You can't. The truth will always shine.
So thank you so very much, everyone, for watching the show this evening. It's been such an honor to welcome back Dr. Marlene Daut to the 1804 Renaissance. And please don't forget, whether you're from Haiti or not from Haiti, it's important to learn about our great island. So what you see in the news is not what it is. What you see on YouTube is not what it is, but you can learn a little bit more about our history, our leaders, by ordering this book today. And you can do so right now by texting our number 786-686-3633. And the word is King. Now, Dr. Daut, what is next for you? What's next after this amazing work?
Well, I am writing a book for like adolescents and teens, like middle school to high school. And I'm hoping to be, I'm taking screenwriting classes so that I can try to adapt this book here into a screenplay for maybe a drama series or something like that. I think I'm not going to complain anymore about Hollywood's lack of attention. We can just do it ourselves. And then I am going to write another biography, but I'm not going to tell you who it's about just yet, because I'm superstitious. So, but once I have more of it,
yeah, don't spill the beans yet.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching this wonderful episode this evening with Dr. Marlene Daut. Thank you so much for watching, and keep an eye on our website, 1804renaissance.com, where we will publish an article again about Dr. Daut and about the book. You will have all the links. If you didn't have a chance to ask your question tonight, please follow us, 1804 Renaissance. Then you can send us your question, and I will be very happy to get those questions to Dr. Marlene Daut. And again, thank you, Christelle. Thank you, Guylaine. And thank you so much, Dr. Daut. You responded to our invitation to come back to the 1804 Renaissance. And we love you. We appreciate you. We're so grateful for you. And I think the world is a better place with you in it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And
that's so kind. Everyone. Good night.
soleil. Tout comme moun ak jeune moun la pays, faut que nous camper.